So every single year, every single person has something called a personal allowance, which is £12,500, okay? So, and if you earn up to £12,500, you do not pay any tax. And if you don't use your allowance, what happens to it? So, what do you want to do every single year? We want to make sure we use our allowance, okay? And especially if you're running a limited company. Above and beyond your personal allowance, you've got something called your starting rate savings allowance. This is a threshold of up to £5,000. So you can have up to £5,000 worth of savings income and not pay any tax on it, as long as it's less than £17,500 in total. We're going to run through an example because this is can be quite complicated, but it's very important. On top of that, you've got something called your personal savings allowance. So if you earn an additional £1,000 worth of savings income, for our purposes, let's keep it very simple. For us, savings income is interest. So let's run through an example. If you have a limited company, how much do you think you are going to give yourself as a salary if you're a director? How much? £12,500? Anybody agree with our friend over here, 12.5 grand? How much? Wendy? Okay. So 8632 is your salary for the year. Why is it 8632? That's the NI limit, okay? And if you pay yourself 8632, do you lose entitlement to state benefits? No, okay? The figure for that I think is 6552, around about £6,500. So you stay in 8632, you do not lose entitlement to your state benefits, and you do not pay any income tax because it's below £12,500, and you do not pay any national insurance contributions. Now the difference between this and £12,500, speaking from memory, I think it's 3868. So we've already established in this room here this morning, if you don't use your personal allowance, you lose it. So we're using some of it here. If you don't use this bit, we're going to lose it. So what do you think we can do to generate this kind of income? You already know the answer already. I've given it to you. Savings income, okay? Interest, okay? So this could be interest. Where that comes from, we don't know right now, but we're going to try and establish that. On top of this, you can earn another £5,000 for your starting rate savings, yeah? That's also going to be interest, yeah? On top of that, you can earn another £1,000 which is going to be your personal savings allowance. So now you're on £18,500. Everybody with me so far? Good. On top of that, you can then earn another £2,000 for your dividend. So in total, you've got £20,500 without paying a single penny in tax. Yeah? Everybody follow me so far? Ashfaq? Cool? So, here is where it gets interesting. If your salary, or your figure here, increases by, for every pound you go over £12,500, you lose a pound of your starting rate savings. So let's say if you ignore this figure here. Let's say your salary was £13,500. Your salary is £13,500. You lose £1,000 of this, so you only get £4,000. Remember, this plus this can't go over 17.5 grand. So for every pound this takes you over 17.5 grand, you lose a pound of this. So you want to make sure you stay as close to £12,500 as you can, so you get you maximise your starting rate savings, and then obviously your personal savings allowance. If you're a basic rate taxpayer, you get £1,000 for your personal savings allowance. If you're a higher rate taxpayer, you only get £500. So if your income's over 50 grand, you only get 500. If you're an additional rate taxpayer, so your income is over £150,000, you get nothing for your personal savings allowance. But that's fair. If you're earning 150 grand, it's okay. Yep. Let's have a think about it. So, if you have a limited company, generally speaking, what happens in terms of money being injected into a company? Where does that money usually come from? Director's loan. Okay, so a director loans money. And do most directors charge interest to their company? No. Why not? They think they're going to pay tax. But do they have to pay tax? They don't, do they? So let's say a director has loaned £100,000 to their company. What rate of interest can they charge? Is the right answer. That's the best answer. As much as is needed to use up those allowances. Basically. Yeah? But if we charged 10%, do we think HMRC might say, well, hold a minute, this is very unreasonable, because if you go to a bank, they charge you 2%, 3%, 4% above base, you're charging 10%. This is not commercial, therefore we're not going to allow it. But if HMRC had a look at you, you're a first, said, hold a minute, you're just doing all this to get all these extra allowances, they're going to, but by the time they look at your tax return, it's probably they've got to open an inquiry within 12 months of you filing your return, so it could be 18 months later. It could be they go back 1 or 2 years, and when they go back 2 years, it's in that second or third year that you did this particular, had this particular arrangement. So how do you prove it? Because they're going to say, at that time, people weren't charging 10% or 15%. So let me give you an easier route. When you go to a bank, generally speaking, and asking for a loan, what do they want in return? Security. So you've taken a loan. After month 1 of taking a loan, what usually happens? You make a repayment. And you have a fixed schedule, yeah? 12 months, 24 months, whatever, okay? And if your company goes bust, where in the pecking order do you think the bank is listed in terms of priority? At the top, so they are a preferential creditor, yeah? Preferential creditor. So if you went to a bank, Piyush, isn't it? Piyush? Yeah. If you went to a bank, Piyush, and you said, can you please loan me £100,000, okay, and I don't have any security to give you, okay, but above and beyond that, okay, I am not going to make regular monthly to you. I promise you, I'm a very nice guy. I've been around for a long time. People like me in the community. Go on Facebook. I've got loads of friends, okay, and you can trust me. I'll pay you at some point in the future. I promise you, I will pay you, but not every single month, and there's no fixed schedule. And if my company goes bust, which it never will do, because I'm a really good businessman, okay, you're not going to be a preferential creditor. But don't worry, I'm not going to go bust. I'm not going to go bust. What kind of rate do you think they're going to charge you? So Wendy, Piyush goes to the bank and tells them no security. He's a nice, honest guy. He'll make repayments at some point in the future. And his company's never going to go bust, so the bank's got nothing to worry about. And he says to the bank manager, what rate of interest are you going to charge me? What do you think the bank manager is going to say to him? The bank manager is going to say to you, Piyush, there's the door, Foxtrot Oscar, which in polite terms means, see you later. They're not going to give you a loan, are they? Okay. So, when you loan money to your company, do you take security? You don't. Do you have fixed repayments? Are you a preferential creditor? So if your company goes bust, so what kind of rate are you going to charge your company? Yeah, well, whatever you like. Within reason to some extent. So I would say charging them 10, 12, 15%. 20% I think pushing it, but 10, 12, 15% works fine.